Hello and welcome. So this lab is going to be about installing Exchange Server for our New York office, and this is part 2. In part 1 we installed the components and prerequisites for our New York Exchange Server. So now we are ready to install our Exchange Server, and let's get it started. So in this Exchange Server, as this is the second Exchange Server in your organization, you do not need to run AD prep or schema prep, because we already ran it in here and already prepared our schema in our Active Directory. So we do not need to run it again. You only need to run it one time when running on a same domain. And if you remember, we ran some commands in order to install, in order to just do the preparation and all other things. So in this lab we will simply go ahead and then click on setup and do the installation directly. So this is going to be easy. So the first Exchange server that you will install is little bit uh, with more step, but the second Exchange server is not. So that's the beauty. So connect to the internet and check for updates. I'm not gonna do that for now, but it is a good practice. It is copying files, and once the copying is done, we can then proceed. Alright, so this is the introduction page. I'll click next. If you want to read, you can read. I will accept the agreement, and I'll use the recommended settings for checking for solution and errors and everything. So again, this is going to be our mailbox role, and I'll select this to automatically install rules and features, and I'll select next, and this is the location where our Exchange server is going to be installed. The required disk space is this much, which is almost like 8 GB, and 8 GB something, and then disk space available is 40. So we are good to do the installation. I'll press next. uh, Malware protection settings, right now disable malware scanning. I'll say next, which is, I'll keep it enabled, which is a good thing for antivirus, spams, and all those filterings. So it is now checking the prerequisites to see if you have installed the component properly. So for example, you have not installed the IIS. For example, you have missed a component in IIS, or you have not installed the unified communication application, or you have missed any other important component that you need in order to install Exchange server, it will give you the error in this step, so that you can simply just cancel or pause the installation and then do the just complete the component installation or prerequisites installation first, and then proceed. So that's going to take a while, or it's gonna take time. So I'm just going to pause the video and see how much time it's gonna take, and then I'll be back to just show you if it's going to come up with errors or it's gonna pass, because we have done the installation of the prerequisites completely and properly. Alright, so the readiness check and prerequisite check is done, and we already got one warning, and this is about send connector. It is because we did not set up any connectors yet, so we will just ignore that because it's a warning. But whenever it's error, it means that you cannot proceed. So warnings are not critical. So I'll just click on install. Now it's going to start the installation, and it will copy Exchange files, and then it will do the step 2 to step 14. If you remember when we did the installation for our Sacramento Exchange server. So I'm gonna pause the video here, and just gonna let it go through step 2 to step 14, and once we are done, then we will just resume the video and see what are the other steps that we have to follow. So once again, in this setup progress that you're seeing in here, it's gonna copy Exchange files, it's gonna install Hub Transport Service, it's gonna install the client access service, it's gonna install unified messaging. It's gonna install mailbox service, which is a part which is part of mailbox role in Exchange Server 2016. So again, like back in old versions, we had like different roles, like 5 different roles in Exchange Server 2007, but now it is all in one role. So all those 5 roles are now one role in one role, but still those roles are working in background, so you're not seeing it in here, but mailbox server or mailbox rule is performing all those jobs for you. But still the components like hub transport, unified messaging, like client access, they are still required to be installed in your Exchange server to function properly. So just keep this in your mind. So I'm gonna pause the video here and we will come back once we are done with all these steps. Alright, so finally the installation is completed and it took like 30 or 40 minutes to complete. So we are now done with the installation. So I'll just click on finish and you see that Microsoft Exchange is telling us congratulations. Okay, thank you for telling us congratulations. So we are done with the installation of our Exchange server for New York and for Sacramento. So our both sites are now ready, and now the next video that we will be configuring all our lab is going to be about recipient configuration, and we will be just going step by step on each part of the Exchange server options, and it is going to be all based on real life scenarios and examples. So I hope you have learned something from these videos, and thank you so much.